Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into James Clear's groundbreaking framework to uncover the hidden psychological mechanisms that are basically secretly sabotaging your daily routines. We're going to break down exactly why change is so ridiculously hard, and much more importantly, how to actually make it happen.
So if you want to change so badly, why do you keep slipping back? Look, it's a universal frustration. We've all been there. You put in the genuine effort to wake up earlier, or maybe you're trying to save money, and you tell yourself, okay, this time I'm absolutely sticking with it. But then time passes, the motivation totally fades, and nothing changes. If this sounds familiar, I need you to know it's not a personal failing. You've just been relying on the wrong approach.
The real root of the problem is the stark misalignment of effort and reward. See, we naturally expect effort and results to rise together. But bad habits? They give you the reward right now. Think about the instant gratification of eating a burger. The cost of that doesn't hit you until much later. Good habits are the exact opposite. You pay the cost right now by choking down that salad, but the reward is heavily delayed. Basically, you're constantly choosing for your present self and totally leaving your future self out to dry.
To fix this, we need a roadmap. So here is our agenda for this explainer. First up, why good habits fail. Then we'll navigate the valley of disappointment. After that, we'll cover systems and identity first, break down the 4 laws of change, and finally, look at why you should never miss twice.
All right, part 1, why good habits fail and the misalignment of effort. Listen, people don't just quit because they're lazy or lack discipline. They quit because they expect their effort and their results to rise in this perfectly straight, predictable line. And when that progress stays invisible, your motivation inevitably plummets.
Which brings us to part 2, the valley of disappointment and the emotional journey of change. Think about your past failures for a second. You bought those really expensive running shoes that are probably collecting dust right now. You started eating a little better. You tried to sleep more. But then you look in the mirror and you look exactly the same. The scale literally hasn't budged. It is incredibly difficult to persist through this emotional valley when the physical evidence just isn't showing up yet. What's happening is you're stuck in what's called the plateau of latent potential. Sounds a bit academic, but it's basically a massive psychological wall. During this stretch, your nervous system is actually adapting. Your muscles are learning new movements, your metabolism is recalibrating. But none of it is visible to the naked eye. Your hard work is accumulating quietly in the background, making it so incredibly tempting to just throw in the towel. To really visualize this, imagine an ice cube sitting in a room cooled to minus 15 degrees. Now, you slowly raise the temperature. Minus 14, minus 10, minus 5, minus 1. Absolutely nothing changes. The ice cube looks exactly the same. But then the room hits 0 degrees, and boom, suddenly the ice melts. Now that final degree didn't cause the change all by itself. It simply revealed all the heat that had already been added. Your work was stored. It wasn't wasted. The tragedy is that most people quit at minus 1 degree, right before their big breakthrough.
Let's move to part 3. Systems and identity first, which is the big paradigm shift. Once you actually understand how progress works, you have to shift your focus. You've got to stop asking yourself, am I seeing results yet? And start asking, am I moving in the right direction?
We've all been taught that setting big, ambitious goals is what creates change. But honestly, goals just determine your destination. Systems determine your direction. Goals actually create this really fragile binary. If you fail, you feel terrible about yourself. But if you succeed, the pressure disappears and you just revert right back to your old habits. Systems, on the other hand, are the daily structures that create a lasting trajectory. As James Clear notes, you can aim north with a goal all you want. But if your daily habits pull you south, guess what? Your real direction is south.
And direction compounds. This is the math behind the famous 1% rule. Improving by just 1% every single day, it doesn't feel impressive in the moment at all. But over a single year, that tiny, consistent improvement compounds to make you nearly 37 times better. Time literally multiplies whatever you feed it.
But to truly maintain a system, you've got to look at the deepest layer of behavior change, and that's your identity. True change happens from the inside out. Outcome-based thinking says, I want to run a marathon, which basically means you only run when you feel motivated. Belief-based thinking says, I am a runner. When you shift your identity first, the behavior stops being an option because you're simply acting in line with who you believe you are. Every action you take is just a vote for the exact person you wish to become.
All right, part 4, the 4 laws of change. This is the solution. So, how do we practically program this into our daily lives? Well, this whole framework is rooted in the neurological reality that repetition physically alters your brain's pathways. The more a neural pathway fires, the stronger it gets, eventually shifting your actions from, hard, disciplined choices straight onto automatic autopilot.
Every habit follows this exact four-step brain loop. A cue grabs your attention, which creates a craving or anticipation. That craving leads to your response, which is the action itself. And finally, you get the reward that satisfies the craving and reinforces the entire loop. So to build good habits, we literally have to hack this loop using 4 specific laws.
The first law is to make it obvious. As Clear points out, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Those highly disciplined people they don't actually possess some supernatural self-control. They just design their environment so they naturally encounter less temptation. Behavior almost always follows exactly what your eyes see.
So here are a few rapid-fire tactics for making things obvious. You can use a habit scorecard to just map out your current autopilot behaviors without judging yourself. You can set implementation intentions, which simply means strictly defining the exact time and location for a new habit. But the most powerful tool here by far is habit stacking. This is where you attach a new routine directly onto a pre-existing automatic one. Like, after I start my morning coffee, I will stretch for 5 minutes. Your old habit acts as the perfect built-in cue.
Next up, we have the second and third laws. Make it attractive and make it easy. To make it attractive, try temptation bundling. Basically, pair something you want to do with something you need to do. Like only letting yourself listen to your favorite true crime podcast while you're out for a run. It builds this massive dopamine anticipation. To make it easy, you have to remove the friction. Prime your environment by laying out your workout clothes the night before. And you definitely need to use the 2-minute rule. Scale any new habit down so it takes less than 2 minutes. Read one single page. Do one single push-up. You are mastering the art of simply showing up, because repetition matters way, way more than perfection.
And the fourth law is make it satisfying. Because good habits delay their true rewards, you essentially have to invent immediate, visible progress to trick your brain. There was this one couple who wanted to stop eating out so much, and they tried this brilliant trick. Every time they cooked at home, they immediately transferred the money they would have spent at a restaurant into a savings account labeled Trip to Europe. They gave themselves an instant, tangible reward for a habit that normally has a delayed return.
Finally, let's hit part 5, never miss twice. This is your failsafe. We have to be completely realistic here. You're going to have a bad day at work, you're going to feel sick, or you're going to miss a planned workout. That is perfectly normal. Life gets in the way, and failure is absolutely going to happen. But here is the crucial rule you have to live by. Never miss twice. Missing once, that's an accident. But missing twice, that is the start of a brand new, bad habit. True progress isn't about flawless, unbroken intensity. It's simply about not breaking the chain of consistency over the long haul.
Now, what if you want to break a bad habit? Well, you simply run the exact same system, just in reverse. Make the cue invisible by putting your phone in a totally different room. Make it unattractive. Make it incredibly difficult by leaving your credit cards in the car so you stop impulse spending online. And make it unsatisfying. Bad habits fade incredibly fast when your environment makes them highly inconvenient.
We'll wrap things up today with this powerful punchline. You don't need to try harder to change your life, you just need to change your system. Build the right environment, focus on your daily direction over some distant destination, and let the quiet power of compounding do the rest. So stop agonizing over those massive goals. What small system are you going to build today? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.